Hello, my name is Chase Ramsey, and this is my video essay analysis for a scene from Mulholland Drive.
I know what you're doing. I know what you have to do. Let me do it.
Okay, so a general rundown of the scene is that Rita is now trying to cut off her hair so that she'll change her appearance and not be as easily recognizable as before. But before she can, Betty steps in and insists that she wants to help. What's actually very interesting is how Betty decides how she's going to help, and that is by putting Rita in this blonde wig. And I believe this wig signifies how Betty is reluctant for Rita to change, because instead of cutting her hair like Rita originally wanted, she instead makes her don this wig. A really famous quote from Coco Chanel states, "A woman who cuts her hair is about to change her life." And for Betty, that is the last thing she wants for Rita, because if she does change, then she'll no longer have that control over her. Besides this one point described, control is also shown in many different ways throughout the scene as well, one of them being through the use of cinematography. For instance, the first shot is of Rita lowering herself into the sink. Her posture is hunched and her head is downwards, which could indicate that she is in a fragile state of mind and lacking in confidence. On top of this, the camera angle is also pointed downwards, which is usually used to indicate that a person isn't in a position of power and is at a disadvantage. The camera only begins to pan upwards when Betty physically enters the scene. As we can see, the camera moves slightly up to show that Betty has entered, before panning back down to the scissors that she has taken away. The intense downwards angle on the scissors is meant to symbolize how they were a factor to Rita's moment of weakness. The camera then pans back up one more time, before coming to Betty's eye level. The scene is now balanced, and it's all thanks to Betty, as she has ultimately taken control of the situation. The next couple of shots are close-ups of the two women's faces. Close-ups are typically used to engage the audience with more enhanced and emphasized character emotion. It makes us feel as though we are there with the person and creates a psychological bond between us and the screen. In this moment, we see the sensuality between Betty and Rita, the tension and affection between the two amplified due to the close proximity of the camera. As Betty caresses Rita's cheek, we're able to see in real time how Rita gains this new level of trust and understanding towards Betty, and also see how Betty has developed these sort of adoring feelings towards Rita. However, it's important to note that even though there is this new understanding between the two, it is still Betty who is primarily in charge and control. From having her close-up shots last longer, to even having her be the only one to speak during this whole sequence, this moment is still being led by Betty. While yes, Betty may love her, she loves the idea of control even more. Aside from all of this moment may go even deeper than just alluding to the idea of control, but also be an explicit moment where the dream reality makes itself more known. For example, the color blue has been shown to be a symbol of Betty's guilt and remorse, which then in turn also goes to symbolize the dream reality itself. In this scene, we have two clear instances of blue being used. One comes from the shirt that Betty is wearing, while the other is from a blue book that sits on the nearby table. The book's title is Tout Paris and is essentially a guide to the art of French decoration. It basically tells people where to go to acquire beautiful treasures. At first glance, this may seem like a random thing, but in films, nothing is ever there for the sake of just being there. Instead, we should look at it like this. Just like how the book teaches others how and where to find beautiful things, Betty has taught herself how she can go somewhere to find what's most beautiful to her. Rita in her perfect dream world. The book's overall premise, tied into its vibrant blue color, truly create a surreal moment, and further the idea that the dream reality is making itself more and more present as time goes on.